Here are some of my favorite self-help books. For starters, I really like The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker. He talks about survival skills and what your brain does when you're in a fearful situation. And so he talks about situations that he's been in that have been scary and situations that other people have been in that have been scary. And he talks about skills that are meaningful and helpful when you're in dangerous situations and scary situations. He really talks about trusting yourself and trusting your intuition about what feels right. And in chapter 4, Survival Signals, he talks about ways that predators go after people and the type of skills they use that are really manipulative, and just how to be aware of those, which I find really helpful because it's always good to be aware of your surroundings and other people's intentions and everything like that. This quote, he says, "We predict the behavior of other human beings based on our ability to read certain signals that we recognize." And so if we recognize signals to watch out for, then it can put us in a better situation. In this book, he talks about different situations and answers questions about what you can do in those type of situations. This quote about intuition: "Intuition knows more about the situation than we are consciously aware of." And I think that's a very good quote because our mind can pick up on things unconsciously that we can't consciously think about in the moment. With the amygdala and the fight or flight system, is trying to protect you. There are a great number of quotes that I really loved, and I would highly recommend this book. I really enjoyed it. The second book is Practically Divine by Becca Stevens. And I read this book a while ago. I really loved the book and everything that she mentioned. She is a survivor and she's an advocate for women survivors. She's founded justice organizations around the world, and she's a spiritual leader and speaker around the globe. And I thought there were so many great things in this book that I loved. It was very personable, and obviously the cover is just beautiful. I love the purple and the gold and just how the light can reflect on it and how beautiful it is. And so this book was a very good book. It talked about some personal, overall I think it has a lot to do with empowerment, and I thought it was a great book. The next book I want to talk about is Live Fearless by Sadie Robertson, and this is her first book that she wrote. In this book, she really talks about her anxiety and fear when she was younger, and she talks about her relationship with God as a Christian and how that has really helped her come to know God and helped her become successful in life. There's great messages in this book, and I loved, obviously the inner cover is beautiful. I love the design. But there were so many great quotes and things that I highlighted. The chapter would talk about different topics related to faith, and in every book she would talk about a question, and then she would invite the reader to participate in a challenge. For example, on this challenge on page 15, it says, "Don't let fear make you say no when God is leading you to say yes." And she just has a lot of great quotes. There's quotes from the Bible in here. A very great book. I actually got this book from the library the first time, and obviously I had to buy it because it was such a great book. Her next book is Live, and this book came out in 2020, and I really enjoyed it. One, because I love all the pastel colors in this book. It's very easy to read. It has some great quotes that jump out at you, photos throughout the book, easy to read. She talks about some of the things that she's been able to teach people and speak about, and just about enjoying life and living life, being there for other people, and just finding the joy in everyday life. And I think that is really important. I really enjoyed reading this. It was a very good book. The next book is The Comfort Book by Ma Hay. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's probably wrong. But this book is such a great book because it's very chill, very easy to read. Some of the chapters are like a few pages, but then some of them are just like a page with not a lot of words. And so it's very simple, but in like the best way. And he talks about different things in life. It's a blend of philosophy and a self-reflective memoir that builds on the wisdom of thinkers and survivors across the ages. Aside from the very pretty cover, I really like this book, and it definitely gave me comfort, pun intended, while reading this book, and I would highly recommend it. The next book I read is not a self-help book. It is a fictional book, but I found a lot of good things in this book, and it is Silence by Deborah Linton. It's about this boy and a girl who are in these like accidents, and it's about them getting to know each other and forming a bond and a relationship because they have a lot of things in common. And I can really identify with both of these characters a lot. One, because Stella, the main character, loves theater and loves to sing, and I love to sing and I love theater. And then Hayden he's seen as like an outcast and a loner, and is very shy, and so I definitely can relate to Hayden as well, just because of my shyness that I've dealt with my whole life. The writing is very beautiful, and like even in the difficult situations that these characters go through, they find each other and they find hope. I really enjoyed this book, and I would highly recommend it. One Accident, Two Souls, 17 Days to Hear Without Hearing, to Speak Without Speaking, to Fall in Love in Silence. And I highly recommend it. It is such a great book. And then, of course, the last book that I love is Untamed by Glennon Doyle. As you can see, I've really annotated it, and I love her style of writing. I love the quotes in this book, and she shares her story, but also talks a lot about feminism and reclaiming your power. I think everyone should read this book. It is such a great book. There were so many great things that I loved about this book. There's several quotes that I really loved. On page 60, there's a quote that says, "I have learned that if I want to rise, I have to sink first. I have to search for and depend upon the voice of inner wisdom instead of voices of outer approval." And I really like this quote because I like to rely on other people's approval. And so I'm still learning how to rely on my own inner voice, and there are just so many like eye-opening messages in this book. And again, the writing style is beautiful. Also the cover it's sparkly and bright, and I feel like it really represents this book very well. And I enjoyed it. I loved it. I did read this at the library, and so obviously when I finished it, I had to get a copy because of how good it was. And I did not regret reading this book. It's probably one of my favorite books I've ever read when it comes to nonfiction. So yeah, here are all the books that I talked about. I love all of these books. Obviously there's more self-help books that I really love, but I'd really like to hear your thoughts about your favorite self-help books, or just other books that have really spoken to you and have really helped you in your life. And feel free to share those in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.